Drake Maye has exceeded my grandest expectations this early, and it's time to appreciate exactly what he's doing. We start there. This is Locked On Patriots.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening? I'm your host, Nick Cattles, born and raised in New England, been covering the Patriots for the past 16 years, also co-host of the Greg Bedard Patriots podcast with Nick Cattles and a sports radio veteran. On today's show, the significant pivot the Pats defense made that might have saved the game in New Orleans. Also, we all know that the run game has been terrible, but we poured through the rewatch and we'll tell you why it's been bad. But first, Drake Maye, MVP candidate. We appreciate you joining the show, making us your first listen, and for being an everydayer. The Locked On Patriots podcast, a proud partner of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Before this season kicked off, my projection for Drake Maye was that if he took the necessary steps in his development and he got some pass protection, he would have a shot at sniffing the top 10 at the quarterback position by the end of 2025. That was my projection, my prediction. If he took the steps, and I thought he would take the steps, if he got pass protection, and I felt like his pass protection would be better this year than it was last year, which isn't saying much. If those two things happened, which I thought they would, I said I believed Drake Maye would be sniffing around the top 10 at quarterback in the NFL. Here we are, 6 weeks into the season, and Drake Maye is legitimately in the MVP conversation. This is not hyperbolic by local people. This is not delusions of grandeur from the fan base. Drake Maye, by pretty much every measurement, which we'll get into, is absolutely unequivocally in the MVP conversation. He is dominant in pretty much every single statistic or analytic you want to look at. Let's talk about the analytics darling before Monday Night Football kicks off. Drake Maye is first in the NFL in EPA. He's fourth in EPA per dropback. He is second in the entire NFL in completion percentage over expected. He's fourth in passer rating. He's seventh in QBR. He is fourth in yards per attempt. So it's not like this is a dink and dunk offense. Kevin Cole posted Week 6 quarterback efficiency, which is EPA per play. Minimum of 15 dropbacks. This was through Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott was number 1. Drake Maye was number 2. Pro Football Focus actually gave Drake Maye a 92.0 passing grade against the Saints. And he had a career-high 91.0 overall grade. He is now a top 5 or 6 graded quarterback by Pro Football Focus after Sunday night's game. And the Patriots, if you're wondering, in DVOA, they have the third best passing offense in the NFL. Analytics darling. Now, if you're not into the analytics, we can look at the traditional stats. Drake Maye, before Monday Night Football, is 5th in yards. He's tied for 5th in most touchdowns with 10. He has 2 interceptions, which is tied for the 3rd fewest in the league. He is 2nd in completion percentage throughout the entire NFL. ESPN Insights posted that Drake Maye is the first Patriots player to throw 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in a victory since Tom Brady. Mike Reese posted that what has Drake Maye done the last 5 games that puts him in rear company? Well, Drake Maye passed for 261 yards and 3 touchdowns with a 140.1 passer rating in the win against New Orleans. Maye is the 4th different player in NFL history under the age of 24 to record at least 200 passing yards and a passer rating of 100 or higher in 5 consecutive games. The only other quarterbacks in the history of the game that have done that under the age of 24. Patrick Mahomes did it 7 consecutive times in 2018, and 5 times in 2018, 2019. Dan Marino did it 6 times in 1984, and Dak Prescott did it 5 times in 2016. Analytically, statistically, historically, Drake Maye is in the MVP conversation. Now, let's throw even more on top of this. Let's get away from the statistics and analytics for a minute and just talk about the adversity that Drake Maye has faced through the first month and a half. And he has proven that he can get through it pretty much all the way through. He has now won back-to-back games on the road. He has won 3 games on the road, of course, winning in Miami, and then backing that up with a huge win in Buffalo, and then winning this past weekend in New Orleans. So he has won 3 games on the road. He outdueled last year's MVP, Josh Allen, on the road. He has been tremendous, as we've talked about, on 3rd and 4th down, no matter how tough the situation is. If it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, it doesn't matter. And he's doing this without a run game. So you want to talk about adversity. Drake Maye has faced plenty of adversity through the first 6 weeks of this season. And he is now becoming a problem for defensive coordinators when they're trying to solve how to defend him. Andrew Callahan posted that Drake Maye against the blitz in New Orleans, he was 7 of 9, 89 yards and a touchdown. So you try to blitz him, he ripped you apart. How about man-to-man coverage? Drake Maye against man-to-man coverage in New Orleans was 7 of 9 for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. So you try to blitz him, he burns you. You try to play man, he burns you. Just facing pressure. According to Phil Perry, Drake Maye, when facing pressure in New Orleans, was 10 for 16, 177 yards, and every single one of his 3 touchdowns came under pressure. Oh, well, maybe you'll challenge him to throw deep. Maybe you'll force him to throw the deep ball, because we all know deep balls are inaccurate from a lot of quarterbacks. Well, that didn't work. Per Next Gen Stats, this is from Mike Giardi, Drake Maye was 3 for 4, 107 yards, and all 3 of his touchdowns on throws of 20-plus air yards versus the Saints. And if you're wondering if that was just a Sunday thing, it's not. As Mike Giardi points out, Drake Maye has a 157.9 passer rating on throws of 20-plus air yards this season. That is number 1 in the NFL. And I remind you, he had 3 deep passes that should have been completed. 2 of the 3 were completed, one of them for a touchdown. The third one, I think, would have been completed to Mac Hollins if it wasn't for that terrible officiating crew. His numbers would have been even better. Oh, well, how about you force Drake Maye to roll to his left because he's so devastating rolling to his right? How did that work out on Kayshon Boutte's first touchdown catch? Rolling to his left. No big deal. You try to get him on a blitz. No big deal. He'll scramble out of it. He's elevating guys as well. It's not just about what Drake Maye is doing individually. He is elevating his teammates. Kayshon Boutte is better because of Drake Maye. The offensive line is better because of Drake Maye. His ability to extend plays, get away from pressure, his ability to diagnose what the defense is doing before the snap of the football. And he has also begun to galvanize the team. There is utter 100% belief in this young man from his teammates in that locker room. And if you think he can't come through in the clutch, you're not watching the same guy. Let's talk about some of the clutch plays, some of the flash plays against New Orleans. First quarter, second drive of the game for the Patriots offense. Travion Henderson does a good job of picking up a blitz, but Garrett Bradbury is beat in the middle. Maye moves the pocket to his left. There's that touchdown to Boutte I just mentioned. Third quarter, first drive, right out of the locker room. 1st and 10, Demario Davis blitzes. Ramondre Stevenson has a cut block. Maye somehow, some way, gets out of that situation and scrambles for an explosive run. Fourth quarter, Patriots' third drive of the second half. 3rd and 11, Morgan Moses gives up a pressure to Cam Jordan. Drake Maye once again moves the pocket, finds Mac Hollins for a first down. Huge play. Then 3rd and 17, Chase Young gets a pressure against Will Campbell. And there was that great pass down the sidelines to Stephon Diggs, which unfortunately was negated and shouldn't have been. Very next play, 3rd and 18. Jared Wilson gives up a pressure. Maye is getting hit. He throws a perfect bucket ball to Matt Collins down the sidelines. And again, defensive pass interference. Unfortunately for Drake Maye, he doesn't get to complete that pass. But that's 3rd and 11, 3rd and 17, 3rd and 18. And then finally, the play that ended the game on Sunday, you had Kayshon Boutte, 3rd and 11, back shoulder throw. Drake Maye calls game. Whether it's analytically, statistically, facing adversity, the eye test, what he's done against pressure, the blitz. I mean, it is just across the board. Fantastic stuff from Drake Maye. And there is no doubt that through 6 weeks, he is part of the MVP conversation, and that exceeds the expectations that I had for him, especially just 6 weeks into the season. All right, if you are a fan dying to know what's wrong with the run game, well, you're in luck. We're going to tell you exactly that next. This is Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards you can actually use. When you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and more. But Built isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. Here's what's great about Built. Your rent finally works for you. You're earning points every month on something you already have to pay. Whether you're grabbing food at your favorite local restaurant or heading to the gym, you're still earning rewards. Built has made everyday life feel more rewarding, from your neighborhood to your travel plans. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL. That's JOINBILT.com/LockedOnNFL. Make sure to use that link so they know that we sent you. Guys, you've likely heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them, but if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Go Long. This isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in 1 dual-action formula so you can go the distance. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. The process, if you're wondering, it's simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. Are you ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to RUGIET.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use that code LOCKEDONNFL so that Rougiette knows that we sent you. Clearly the biggest issue with this team, and look, we're all happy, 4-2, fantastic, great win Sunday, incredible win in Buffalo, but it doesn't mean this team is flawless. This team still has its issues, and clearly the biggest issue is the run game. The run game has been an abomination. Now, the first half against the Saints, during my rewatch, I will tell you, the run game was not terrible. But as the game went on, things got worse. So what is the problem? What's happening? What's going wrong? I'll begin with this idea that in the Saints game, it was equal opportunity for people to screw the run game up. When you're watching, it seems like every time a run play gets stuffed or you lose yardage, it's somebody else that's messing up. There's always like at least one guy. And a lot of times it's just one guy messing up. Let's start with the offensive line, and I will run through some examples of what went wrong against the Saints on Sunday in the run game. Third quarter. So right out of the locker room, halftime, you go out there third quarter, your first drive, it's a 2nd and goal. Now, if you watch this play, 2nd and goal, you have Jared Wilson pulling, and Will Campbell at the same time is trying to execute a cut block. Well, unfortunately, Will Campbell misses his cut block, so he leaves a gap wide open for the defensive line to run right through. Meanwhile, Morgan Moses also gets beat at right tackle. So you've got your left guard pulling, your left tackle tries a cut block, he misses. The left side of the offensive line is immediately compromised. Meanwhile, Morgan Moses loses on the right side, 3-yard loss. Jared Wilson individually had a rough game when you look at run blocking against the Saints. Second quarter, third drive of the game. It's a 1st and 10. Jared Wilson, he climbs to the second level. He gets to the linebacker, but he doesn't erase the player. So he does not execute the block on the second level. And because of that, if you're watching this run in the second quarter, Ramondre Stevenson, if that block is made at the second level by Jared Wilson, Ramondre Stevenson likely runs for 10+ yards. But instead, Jared Wilson misses the block. Ramondre Stevenson gets a 3-yard run instead of something that might have been much, much bigger. Same quarter, next drive, fourth drive of the first half for the Patriots. Jared Wilson, he doesn't hold up against Brian Breeze. And he doesn't hold up Breeze long enough on a Stevenson run. So Stevenson, he gets 2 to 3 yards instead of the 7 to 10 he would have gotten if Jared Wilson was able to hold his block against Brian Breeze. Mike Onwenu, he's good for 2 or 3 implosions almost every single game when you watch this offense. When you rewatch the games, it's not that Mike Onwenu is terrible from beginning to end. It's just he has 2 or 3 plays that are awful. And we saw that again against the Saints. The very first drive of the game, first quarter, 2nd and 5. Mike Onwenu gets blown up. Meanwhile, not only does Mike Onwenu get blown up on the 2nd and 5 run, Demario Davis has a run blitz for the Saints, 3-yard loss. Fourth quarter, third drive of the second half, 2nd and 7. Mike Onwenu completely blown up once again. So 2 terrible snaps in the run game, and he might have had more. These are just the 2 that I'm pointing out. 2 terrible run snaps from Mike Onwenu. Andrew Callahan posted, the Patriots were stuffed on 34.7% of their designed runs in New Orleans. That is a season high. So the offensive line not executing. But it's not just the offensive line. You also, as you watch this Saints game over again, as I did, you see a couple of instances where the running back doesn't have great vision. There's a cutback lane. There's something the running back can do. They don't take advantage. There's also some inconsistencies with the wide receivers in the blocking game. And it really comes down to, you look at the final drive of the Patriots offense. Thankfully, this did not hurt because of Drake Maye and Kayshon Boutte. But there are examples of both bad vision from the running back and bad blocking by the wide receivers. There are examples of each of those in the final drive of the game. So if you just want to go back and watch the final drive of the game that sealed it for the Patriots, there's a 1st and 10. Ramondre Stevenson runs into a pile. It looks like there's a cutback lane there on the right side. He doesn't hit it. He gets 3 yards. He cuts back. He might get 10+ yards. Then 1st and 10. Stephon Diggs completely misses Justin Reed on his block. Justin Reed blows the play up, 3-yard loss. So it's not just the offensive line. It's the offensive line. It's the running backs. It's the receivers not being consistent enough when it comes to executing their blocks. And in the New Orleans game, Josh McDaniels did not necessarily help. I thought, especially in the second half, Josh McDaniels' play calling was incredibly predictable for long stretches, especially the fourth quarter. I thought his play calling at times lacked creativity. And frankly, you could say Josh McDaniels was stubborn because he kept running the football on 1st down in the fourth quarter. And I tweeted at Nick C Radio, enough with the 1st down runs, Josh. I've seen enough of them. Prime example, fourth quarter, 4th drive of the second half for the Patriots. 1st and 10 run play. Garrett Bradbury gets destroyed by Devon Godchaux. Just destroyed. Play had no chance. 1st and 10 again. Stephon Diggs. This happened before the last example I just gave you. But Stephon Diggs misses his block. Morgan Moses doesn't get out and pull quick enough against Demario Davis. 3-yard loss. Andrew Callahan posted that rushing on 1st down had a 29% success rate against the Saints, while 1st down passes had an 80% success rate. McDaniels called mostly runs And here's the thing, Josh McDaniels finished the game with 5 straight first down runs. And you can sit there and you can tell me about the clock and all of that, but you were still in a position where you had to get a first down. And again, thankfully, Drake Maye bailed you out with a great play, he and Kayshon Boutte on 3rd and 11. Because of that, you survive and you win the game. But running on first down over and over and over again when it wasn't working, it was insane. Bad play calling by Josh McDaniels, who had been great through really the last 3.5 games. Incomprehensible. And yes, some of this is on Mike Vrabel as well, because Mike Vrabel is a CEO. He should be talking to his offensive coordinator. So just not good enough. Stubbornness, lack of creativity. You can also look at the snaps. Travion Henderson. I thought he should have played more. I thought he looked comfortable. There was a 3rd down play where he kind of glitched, so to speak. But other than that, I thought Travion Henderson looked more decisive in this game. I also thought that he did a good job of pass protecting on a blitz earlier in the game. But for some reason, Ramondre Stevenson had 46 snaps to Travion Henderson's 19 snaps. In the first half, Josh McDaniels called 3 runs for Travion Henderson. Just not enough. Just not enough. And one more thing, the Giants, I talked about this previewing the Saints game. The Giants really hurt the Saints with shotgun runs. The Patriots only ran out of the shotgun 3 times. Now, I just put 2 up. 3 times. Now, is that because, there were decisions by the quarterback and there had a few RPOs there? Is it because there were audibles and you changed the play? All I could tell you is there were 3 runs out of the shotgun after the Saints got ripped apart on gun runs against the Giants the week before. So it's really all of those problems. And that's why you can't run the ball in the second half. Offensive line execution, running back vision, wide receiver problems and inconsistencies executing their blocks, a stubborn play caller, predictable play caller, and the splitting of the snaps just didn't make much sense to me either. All right, a philosophical pivot by the Pats defense at halftime changed the game and likely secured the win. That's next as we continue with today's episode of Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The NFL season is, of course, here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, including a couple this past weekend for a few games. I've tried player props and even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. And whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats like I do, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So right now, new customers, you bet just $5 and you can get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock that $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com, that's FanDuel.com, to download the FanDuel app today and get started. I thought de facto defensive coordinator Zak Kuhr, I thought he did a good job of pivoting the game plan at halftime against the Saints. And I had tweeted during the first half that I thought the Patriots defense was a little bit too aggressive at times, and that burnt them right out of the gates, right? The first defensive play, you blitz Carlton Davis, that leaves Kyle Duggar on an island against Chris Olave, and you give up a 50-plus yard explosive play. Not ideal. But there was a pivot. There was a change by Zak Kuhr from the first half to the second half, and I'm sure Mike Vrabel also weighed in on this. And it was a very smart change, and it was a change that worked for the defense and allowed the Patriots to walk out of New Orleans with the W. And the change was really not being as aggressive in the second half. Andrew Callahan has the numbers. The Patriots blitzed and or played man-to-man on more than 50% of the dropbacks in the first half. They got burned. They gave up 16 points and almost 6 yards per play. Now, why would the Patriots come into the game saying, let's be super aggressive, let's blitz, let's play man? Well, Evan Lazar pointed out that Spencer Rattler had struggled against the blitz in the first 5 weeks. So the Patriots saw that on film. They came in, they said, we're going to blitz Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler played really well against the blitz in the first half, and the Patriots said, okay, we're not going to blitz as much, and we're not going to play as much man. And as Andrew Callahan points out, when he's posting about the pivot that they made at halftime, the Patriots didn't blitz or play man-to-man much at all, if at all, in the third quarter, and then they waited to heat Rattler up on a defensive back blitz, which was the Marcus Jones blitz, for a huge fourth quarter sack on third down. So they picked their blitzes specifically for certain moments instead of being aggressive across the board. So they played less man and they were less aggressive with the blitz calls in the second half compared to what they did in the first half. And the New Orleans Saints, obviously not nearly as effective, scored 3 points in the second half. So a great pivot by Zak Kuhr, Mike Vrabel, and the defensive coaching staff. Looking at some other things during the rewatch, defensively, the Patriots did not get much pass rush consistently, especially in the first half. I mean, there were some pressures, but Spencer Rattler was never really in big-time trouble consistently. And some of that had to do with the New Orleans offensive line winning. Some of that had to do with Spencer Rattler, as we talked about previewing this game, getting rid of the football very, very quickly, being decisive and getting rid of it. And meanwhile, the Patriots, they played heavy zone coverage. Evan Lazar posted, again, this was part of the pivot at halftime, but the Patriots played 21 of Spencer Rattler's 30 dropbacks in zone coverage. And so what you saw as we're watching Spencer Rattler and New Orleans kind of move the football at ease in the first half, what you saw was a combination of a few things. The blitzing not working, at least not working consistently. Spencer Rattler making very quick decisions and good decisions. And zone coverage, which really was the approach in the secondary to not give up big plays over the top, as you saw, as I referenced, the Kyle Duggar one-on-one outside to Chris Olave, not a great idea. So the Patriots were willing to give up some yardage underneath. And that's why you saw some of those easy completions and why it didn't look like New Orleans had to fight for their lives for every yard. The Patriots were going to play zone coverage on the back end and almost just tighten up in the red zone and say, well, if you can't score touchdowns, you can't score touchdowns. The old bend, don't break. And the Patriots, it worked. It worked for them against the Saints. They certainly bent, but they did not break. Giving up only 19 points is a win at the NFL level, especially on the road. Now, I don't know if that had to do more with New England being great defensively or New Orleans being bad offensively, because something we did discuss in the preview to this game was the fact that the New Orleans Saints, one of the worst red zone offenses in all of football. Going into Sunday, they were 29th in the NFL in red zone offense, but the Patriots' red zone defense has been awful. The Patriots' red zone defense going into Sunday was 30th in the league. So what you had was weakness versus weakness, and the Saints were more weak in the red zone offensively than you were defensively. Spencer Rattler also created some problems with his legs on a couple of occasions in the first half, and I thought that was mostly K'Lavon Chaisson in the first quarter. Second defensive stand, quote-unquote, or possession, or whatever you want to call it. Spencer Rattler scrambled. K'Lavon Chaisson doesn't shed or peel away from his block, and he doesn't close up the middle gap. Spencer Rattler sees this, runs right through that gap, picks up 9 yards. Second quarter, this was the third possession for the Saints offense. K'Lavon Chaisson loses his edge against Spencer Rattler. He sucks too far in, and Spencer Rattler takes advantage of it, and he scampers for 9 yards. Now, they cleaned that up as the game went on. I thought Marcus Jones, some other notes, I thought Marcus Jones was great. I mean, critical impact plays. The Chris Olave pass breakup, which I thought was a fumble that wasn't called. The Chris Olave pass breakup in the end zone. That was an incredibly tough play. New Orleans was trying to run a mesh shrub route against Marcus Jones, and he gets through it somehow, some way, races through it, catches up to Olave just in time to make a play. He had the huge sack that I brought up a little bit earlier. So Marcus Jones, I thought, was great. Khyiris Tonga continues to be a huge problem. Huge problem. And Christian Ellis was better than he'd been earlier in the year. I think he's had back-to-back pretty decent games. Jack Gibbons, some issues that you see. He missed a big tackle in the backfield at one point in the game. I still wonder if you'll see a little bit more of Jelani Tavai. But, overall, the defense in the first half, a little bit too aggressive. Some mistakes. Opened up some opportunities for the Saints offense, and they took advantage to get down to the red zone or near the red zone, but the Patriots did a better job to keep them out of the end zone. You give up only 19 points, which I said earlier is a win, and I thought they were much better in the second half, and you had some standouts in this game. They did enough to win. First half was rough, but they made the adjustment. That was necessary. All right, that wraps up this edition of Locked On Patriots. Thank you for making us your first listen and for being an everydayer. Reach out to me on Twitter at NickCRadio. Don't forget to throw a comment in on the YouTube channel, especially you everydayers sticking with us. And don't forget to hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe for your second listen. Get a double dose of the Locked On NFL podcast with Tyler the Madman Rowland and Tony Wiggins. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.